Melinda Taylor is a lawyer working for Julian Assange, and she joins us now from The Hague. Melinda, thanks so much for your time. We've heard that Julian Assange is disappointed about this outcome. Why?
Yes, he is, because he's been waiting 5 years to clear his name. He's been waiting 5 years to have a denouement to this ordeal. From the very outset, Julian Assange offered solutions to the prosecutor. He offered to be interviewed in the Ecuadorian embassy unconditionally. He offered to come to Sweden if Sweden would agree not to extradite him onwards to the US. Sweden refused all of these solutions, and as a result, he has been detained for over 1,700 days and has had no ability to clear his name against these allegations. So of course he's disappointed.
The fact that the charges have been dropped, of course, there was a time factor involved in this. As you say, they declined his offer to talk to him at the embassy. What do you think that means for the ongoing charge that he has against him of rape?
Well, this outcome is a shambolic outcome and exemplifies the prosecutor's approach to this case. Today's result is not just about statute of limitations, it's about her failure to act in a competent and expeditious manner. Julian had a right to a prompt investigation, but this case has stalled for 5 years while he's been kept in detention. This really raises the question whether it would be fair to continue and completely disproportionate to do so, given that there's only one allegation left and given the prosecutor's apparent lack of good faith in moving this case forward.
And if they didn't have enough evidence to prosecute the other cases, do you think there is not enough evidence here for this particular allegation that is left?
I think there's clearly not enough evidence. The senior prosecutor who first investigated this case found that was the case and closed it. And if there was enough evidence, questions have to be asked why she has delayed so long in hearing his voice, hearing his side of the story. Why did she take 5 years to decide to interview him?
There are talks now going on between Ecuador and Sweden. What do you expect to come out of those discussions?
I think Ecuador's always acted in good faith. As I said, when Julian first came into the embassy, they said they had no intention to obstruct the investigation, and yet the prosecutor didn't notify them of her intention to interview him until June, just before the expiration of the statute of limitations. There were further delays when Sweden refused to enter into an agreement concerning the procedure for the interviews, so it's hard to predict what the outcome will be. I expect there might be further delays, which again violates his right to a prompt investigation.
And there's, of course, a further 5 year statute, I guess, of limitations on this particular charge, which could see him remain in the Ecuadorian embassy. Do you think if it drags on for another 5 years?
Well, this is the problem with today. There's no end in sight for Julian's ordeal. Sweden has consistently refused to give him any assurance that they won't extradite him to the US, and that is why he's in the embassy. He's not in the embassy because of the Swedish case. He is in the embassy because he has a real fear that he will face extradition to the US, where he could face a risk of cruel and inhumane treatment. We only have to look at the case of Chelsea Manning to see how real that risk is. The Special Rapporteur on Torture found that she had been subjected to cruel and inhumane treatment. And just yesterday, she's been sentenced or she's been punished and given indefinite solitary confinement just because she had expired toothpaste and a Vanity Fair magazine in her cell. So we can really see that Julian would suffer a similar fate, given that he was public enemy #1 in the United States. And there is an ongoing investigation against him and WikiLeaks.
Melinda Taylor, really good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Bev.